Hey everyone, have you ever had that feeling, that nagging sense that your course could be better, but you just don't have the time or energy for a massive overhaul? Well, today, we're going to walk through a really powerful AI-assisted playbook that's designed to help you do just that, audit and improve your course in less than an hour.
You know, it's funny how it happens. Over a few semesters, even a course you absolutely love can start to, well, drift. Little tweaks here, a new reading there, and before you know it, subtle disconnects can pop up that you might not even notice at first. So the real question is, how do you find these hidden issues before they become big problems?
Usually, the signs are probably all too familiar, right? You get that end-of-semester feedback that's just kind of vague and not very helpful. Or you realize students seem confused about the same key assignment term after term. Or maybe the one that really stings, you see low scores on a critical project that you know they should be acing. But the biggest pain point of all? You know something's a little off, but you have absolutely zero time for a ground-up redesign.
Well, that's the big promise here. What if I told you that you could run a diagnostic on your course, pinpoint the exact issues, and get a clear plan to start fixing them all in about the time it takes to have lunch? That's what we're aiming for.
Okay, so here's the solution. We're calling it an AI-assisted course audit. And I want you to think of this less like some kind of major, scary surgery on your course, and more like a quick, efficient health checkup for your syllabus, your assignments, and your learning outcomes.
And here's the part that makes this a real game changer, the time commitment. The whole process is built to take somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes. That's it. It's designed for busy instructors who need powerful results without a huge time investment. Now let's get something really important out of the way right now. This is not about letting AI take over your course. Not at all. The entire philosophy here is that you use AI as a thinking partner. It's a tool to help you see your own material from a new angle. You are always the expert in the driver's seat. The AI makes suggestions, you make the decisions.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, it boils down to a super simple 3-step workflow. First, you gather up your key course info, your syllabus, major assignments, learning outcomes. Second, you run 5 specific, targeted AI prompts. And third, you look at the results and start implementing the quick wins. It's that straightforward.
All right, so let's pop the hood and look at the engine that makes this whole thing run. The real magic is what we call the 5-prompt framework. These aren't just random questions. They're a carefully designed sequence to systematically analyze your course from every important angle.
Okay, this framework is the absolute heart of the audit. It starts broad and then gets more and more specific. The first prompt is the health check. Think of it as the 30,000-foot view that looks for overall alignment. Then prompt 2 zooms in on the clarity of your course learning outcomes. Are they using strong, measurable verbs? Prompt 3 is a big one. It actually maps your assignments to your outcomes to find any hidden gaps. You know, where you say you're teaching one thing but testing another. Then it gets really cool. Prompt 4 actually tries to predict where students might struggle. And finally, prompt 5 does a quick audit of your syllabus for clarity and tone. Each step gives you something concrete and actionable.
I know this can all sound a bit abstract, so let's make it real. Let's walk through a quick story of a professor, we'll call her Professor Chen, who used this exact playbook to solve a really frustrating problem she was having in her class.
So here was her situation. In her abnormal psychology course, about a quarter of her students, 25%, were failing the final project. And it happened year after year. The feedback was always the same. They just didn't seem to get how to apply the theories to the case studies she gave them.
So she runs the AI audit, and boom, the alignment prompt spits out a breakthrough insight. Her course outcomes said that students would understand the theory, but the final project, the big assessment, was demanding that they apply it. That's a huge difference. The audit flagged this fundamental misalignment as the likely source of all that student confusion.
And the solution wasn't some massive, month-long redesign. It was a perfect, quick win. Professor Chen just needed to reword 2 of her learning outcomes to swap out understand for the much stronger verb apply. Then, she added 1 explicit line item for application into the project's grading rubric. A tiny change, but it made the expectation crystal clear.
So, Professor Chen's story is a great example of this in action. Now let's bring it back to you and your courses. What does your path forward look like? Because this playbook is all about making those small, smart changes that can have a really big impact on your students.
After you run this audit, you're not going to be left with a bunch of vague ideas. You're going to walk away with very concrete things. You'll have a clear diagnosis of what's working well and what isn't. You'll get a priority list, so you know what to tackle first. You'll have specific, actionable steps to take. And you'll even have a simple way to document the improvements you're making.
And the implementation isn't meant to be overwhelming. The idea is to make it totally manageable. Maybe this week you just implement one quick win, something that takes 15 or 20 minutes. Then over the next month, you can tackle one of those deeper alignment gaps. It's a low-stress, iterative process that fits into a real schedule.
And this really is the key takeaway, isn't it? You don't have to burn yourself out trying to completely rebuild a course from scratch. Real, lasting improvement often comes from making small, intelligent, targeted changes that build on each other, semester after semester.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Based on everything we've just talked about, what's the one quick win your course is just waiting for? What's one small change you could make, maybe in the next 30 minutes, that would create a little more clarity and a little more success for your students tomorrow?